Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Dennis Brown and this is Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. I want to welcome you to another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. If you're catching this on replay, kudos to you. Thank you for joining me. Hit me up in the comments with hashtag replay. And for the rest of you all around the world here that are checking this out, today we are going to talk about the easiest way that an owner-operator can double their income without buying another truck. All right. So this is kind of a riddle, but I think it's going to be kind of cool because I think that this is going to open up some people's eyes, especially if you're a truck driver or an owner operator, or maybe the spouse of a truck driver, owner operator. I think this is going to be really, really helpful for you. So tune in, stay with me here. Appreciate you being here. Again, this is Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. I do these every Monday at noon Eastern time, and today is no exception. So let's welcome everybody here into the room real quick. The way the agenda is going to work is I'm going to kind of welcome everybody. We're going to do the training, and then I'm going to do a giveaway, right? I'm going to do a free giveaway like I do almost every single week. And then we're going to do live Q&A. So hang tight with me, okay? So we got a jam-packed session here today. Hit me up in the chat box. Let me know the city and state that you are logging in from. I'm from the Buffalo, New York area, born and bred in Western New York, been here for way too long and way too many years to mention. You can probably see from my bald head and my gray beard that I've been around for a bit. So where are you guys joining me from? Give me a quick heads up here. Paul Spates from Frisco, Texas. Welcome once again. Ernest Berry from Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas. Frisco, Texas. Texas is in the house as usual. Welcome Army Co. from Cove Springs, Florida. Welcome Nelson Sanchez from Florida. Reginald Pinkard from, well, he didn't say, but he is a student. Welcome, Reginald. Welcome, JT. Ooh, I scrolled up here. JT Tao from Sacramento, California. Joshua from Palestine, Ohio. We got a Facebook user from Cape Coral, Florida. I don't know your name, but welcome. We got Rosie Yanes from Laredo, Texas. More Texas. Preet Security from India. Welcome, Preet. Jorge Rodriguez from Colorado, Elsa from Forest Hill, California. Welcome. Shadron Pollard from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Corey from Cedar City, Utah. Mo from Humble, Texas. Again, we have more Texas in the house. Texas is kicking butt. We have KD Floyd from North Carolina. Welcome. Masterpiece from New Orleans, Louisiana. Sam from Houston, Texas. Sherilyn from Hollywood, Florida. Samuel from Greenwood, Indiana. Courtney from Charlotte, North Carolina. Daniel Ordays from Ontario, California. Or maybe that's California or Canada, not sure. Treachus Bailey from Hampton, Georgia. Duad Mohammed from Toronto, Canada. So now we got another country in the house here. We got U.S. and Canada. That's not unusual. Michelle from Springfield, Ohio. Boy, we got, let's see, Rosemary from Knoxville, Tennessee, Ronald Paulino from Cleburne, Texas, Shanqueen Wiley from Lakeland, Florida. Man, we got people from all over the place. So welcome. Thank you for joining me. I truly appreciate it. If I didn't get a chance to give you a shout out today, join me next week. I will do my best to give you a shout out. But most of all, I'm happy that you're here because these Freight Broker Bootcamp Lives are designed as a free training that not only my students can participate in, everybody who takes my Freight Broker Bootcamp online training program, but other people, whether you find me on Facebook or YouTube. These are free trainings to supplement my existing Freight Broker Bootcamp course. And just for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dennis Brown. Been an entrepreneur for 25 years, been very blessed. Went on to grow a freight brokerage, did over $200 million in sales, and sold that brokerage. But I'm also the owner of freightbrokerbootcamp.com, which is the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker training available today. So you can check that out if you're curious. Maybe you're a first-timer, or maybe you're just looking to, maybe you've been kind of doing some research online and you're ready to get off the fence. Check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. You get all the details of what we offer there. All right, so we're going to do a quick giveaway. As usual, a lot of times I'll give away a shirt. Today, I'm not giving away a shirt. I'm not going to tell you what I'm giving away, but I'm not giving away a shirt today, something different. So in order to participate in the giveaway, if you are on Facebook, pay attention, listen, lean in here, listen really quick. If you're watching this on Facebook, all I need you to do is tag 3 people in the comments. 3 people that you think might be interested in learning more about becoming a freight broker or freight agent. Maybe they're an owner operator. Maybe they're a truck driver. Maybe they're the spouse of a truck driver owner operator. Who knows? Maybe they're just somebody that's looking for a side hustle, a way to make money. Okay. Tag them. If you're on Facebook, tag them in the comments. Okay. So Facebook users, that's what you got to do to qualify for the giveaway. I'm going to be giving away 1 prize today. Okay. I'm going to randomly draw that person. If you're on YouTube, here's what I need you to do. I need you to share the stream. Hit the share button and share the stream. But first, you got to like. You got to like this feed no matter where you're at. If you're watching this on Facebook, hit the like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. That's the price of admission in order to get into this drawing, okay? Plus, I do these free trainings, and the more engagement I get, the more motivated I am to come back every week and to offer this free value, okay? So on YouTube, once you share the stream, come back in and hit hashtag shared, okay? Let me know, hashtag shared in the comments. Facebook users, I need you to tag at least 3 people. YouTube users, I need you to actually click the link, share it on somewhere, share it on YouTube, share it on, Instagram, share it on Pinterest, share it on whatever, Twitter, wherever you want to share it. Send it to 3 of your friends via email. Then come back into the comments and hit hashtag shared on YouTube, okay? We're going to do the drawing after the training. So I'm going to go through this topic. I'm going to talk to you about this topic, how owner-operators can double their income without buying another truck. And then we're going to do the drawing, and then we're going to do live Q&A. So stick with me. If you've got questions, maybe you're a student of mine who has questions. Maybe you're someone who's brand new to this who has questions. I'll answer any and all questions about freight broker, freight agent, entrepreneur, whatever the case may be. I will do those at the end. Okay, so we are going to do a live Q&A. All right, so without further ado, again, if you want to be a part of the free giveaway, I'm going to be giving away a cool prize today, okay? Facebook users, tag 3 people. YouTube users, share the stream, okay? Cool. All right, awesome. So today, we are here to talk about the easiest way that owner-operators can double their income without buying a truck, okay? So obviously, if you have 1 truck and you buy another truck, you can double your income potentially. But you also have to go into a lot of debt. There's a lot of risk. And so I wanted to share this lesson today. I wanted to share this today because I think it's really important. A lot of people that take my Freight Broker Bootcamp course are owner-operators, truck drivers, or the spouses of owner-operators or truck drivers. Matter of fact, the last survey I did, about 40% of my students fall into one of that category, okay? So today, I'm going to share with you how to double your income. But here, first, we're going to go through a little bit of a lesson. What are some of the ways that an owner-operator can increase their income, right? One way is they can reduce their cost. So they can increase their profits by reducing their costs. And just so you guys know, owner-operator truck drivers are basically independent truck drivers that own their truck and operate their own truck as a business, okay? So typically they're like solopreneurs that have a truck, a trailer, and they just run the roads and service shippers and make money doing it. So one of the ways that they can add more profit to their bottom line is to decrease expenses, right? Maintenance, fuel, food, costs to operate that owner-operator business. That's one way they can do it, all right? That's not the best way, but it's one way, all right? The second way they can do it is they can increase their per mile rate. So if they normally average, they charge $2 per mile, right? Kind of if that's their average, $2 per mile, they could increase that per mile rate, which will increase their profit. It'll increase their gross and their net, assuming that their expenses don't go up the same amount as their gross, okay? So they can increase their per mile rate. The third way they can do it is they can increase the number of miles that they run in a day, a week, a month, or whatever period. So they can run more miles. Now, there's a law of diminishing returns because there's obviously legislation around that. There's rules and guidelines for drivers. They can only do so many miles and so many hours and so on and so forth. So those are a few ideas on how you can increase your income as an owner-operator. You can also, again, if you want to double your income, go out and go into debt for another truck. Now, for most owner-operators, that's probably, sometimes it's not even an option, but other times that's a little scary because, you know, a truck and a trailer, even a used one might cost you 60, 80 grand. Something that you buy new is going to cost you over 100,000 when you combine those two things together. So it's a lot of risk and a lot of debt. But the best way, okay, lean in here, the best way that owner operators can double their income without buying a new truck is to get their freight broker authority. All right, so let me explain to you why. All right, so as an owner operator, you typically own and operate one truck, okay? So you have one truck and one trailer. That means that you are limited to the amount of miles and amount of loads and the amount of money that you can generate for your business every day. Let's say, for example, you typically run 3 loads a week, just a hypothetical. You run 3 loads a week, and over 52 weeks, that's about 150 loads per year that you can run, okay? Now, it limits your income to whatever revenue and profit you're able to generate from those 150 loads. But if you add your freight broker authority, you can not only run those loads with your truck, but now all the relationships you have with shippers, you can help support them, grow your revenue, service your clients by brokering loads to other trucks. So you've already got the client, you've already got the customer, you've already got the shipper, and you're serving them with your one truck. But you're limited to how many loads you can run at any one time, which is 1. Let's say, for example, all you did was broker 3 loads a week. 3 loads that were not running on your truck, they were being brokered out to other drivers, other owner operators, other carriers. Just imagine what that could do for your income. Huge. You've already got a carrier authority, but if you want to start brokering loads, you got to get your freight broker authority, right? So to me, that's the easiest way for an owner operator to double their income. Plus, let me give you some other benefits. Number 1, you have the ability to leverage the knowledge that you've acquired about trucking and logistics. You've already got this knowledge in your head. Who knows better how freight moves than an owner operator, right? An owner operator truck driver knows exactly what it takes to pick up and deliver a load on time in good condition with no problems. All right. Number 2, you can leverage your existing relationships with shippers, relationships with other drivers, relationships with other carriers. You have these relationships that you've acquired over your career. Why not leverage them to increase your income? And number 3, you can create an exit opportunity. What I mean by an exit opportunity is not necessarily selling the business, but exiting from your truck. Some of you that are watching this right now are drivers, and you wish you could get out of your truck. You wish you could spend more time with your family at home. You wish you had more free time. You wish you could go on more vacations. Here's the problem. When your wheels are not moving on your truck, you're not making money. And when you're not making money, the bills aren't getting paid. And so the challenge of the owner operator is to eventually get off the road. And what this brokerage opportunity gives you is the ability to eventually, when you're ready, to retire from driving and maintain or even increase your income by working from home as a broker, leveraging all those relationships, leveraging all that knowledge, and leveraging your time so that you don't have to have those wheels turning under your own truck in order to maintain a great lifestyle, in order to pay the bills, and in order to achieve your financial goals, whatever those goals may be. Okay, so that's the basic fundamentals of what I wanted to share with you today. The best and easiest way for an owner operator, in my opinion, to double their income or more is to acquire your freight broker authority. Leverage your knowledge, leverage your relationships, and create an opportunity for you to eventually exit that truck at some point in the future without losing all of your income. So I hope that makes sense. Now, if you guys are curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent, whether you're an owner operator or a truck driver or the spouse of an owner operator or truck driver, or you work in logistics or you work for a shipper, or you have no experience at all like me when I first got started, if you're curious about becoming a freight broker, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We've been in business over a decade, trained over 8,000 students. We have a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. So check it out. I can't make it much easier than that. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're catching this on Facebook, make sure you follow the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page. And listen, if you enjoyed this, comment below. Truly appreciate you guys being here. And make sure you join me next week for a new Freight Broker Bootcamp Live every Monday at noon. So now, hold tight. We're going to dive into Q&A. So you can ask me any questions, but hold tight on the questions. I'm going to give away the prize. Okay, I'm going to give away the prize today. Whoever did what I suggested, whoever did what I asked, okay, and what you had to do, again, was very simple. All you had to do as a Facebook user is tag 3 people that you know, okay? Tag 3 people that you think would be interested. Maybe they're owner-operators, maybe they're truck drivers, maybe they're spouses of one of those, whatever the case may be. Tag those 3 people, and you will qualify as to possibly win the prize. If you're on YouTube, you got to share the stream, and then you got to come back in here and hit hashtag shared, okay? Hashtag shared. That's going to let me know that that you actually shared the stream. Now, this is an honor system, guys. I'm counting on your honor that you're actually going to do this, right? I show up every week, week in and week out, and I do these free trainings, and I don't charge you at all, right? There's no charge for these free trainings. The price of admission, right? The price of admission here is to engage, participate in this live, right? So if you want an opportunity to win that prize, make sure you like, comment, share. And I'm going to give 1 minute. I'm going to give 1 minute here for everybody to share the stream, tag people that they know, and I will select a winner. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Hold on a second. So while we're doing this here, let me just get onto Facebook real quick so I can make sure that I get people that are tagging. So give me uno momento, and then we're going to dive into Q&A. So hold tight with me. So if you have questions, we're going to get into Q&A, but hold tight. Okay. All right. So let's see. Boop. All right, what do we got here? All right. So, all right, cool. All right, good. All right, guys. So listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scroll through the feed. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm randomly going to select somebody, and that person's going to get the free prize. Okay. This week, the prize is I'm going to give you my favorite book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I've given away hundreds of copies of this book. This book is the fundamental of becoming a successful entrepreneur. Okay. So trust me when I tell you the fundamentals and the lessons you will learn from this book. If you have not read it yet, you're an absolute fool. I'm going to give 1 copy away today. If you're smart and you don't win, you're going to go to Amazon and buy a copy. I don't make a dime off of it, but you could probably get this book for 10 or 20 bucks, and the knowledge you'll get from that could be worth potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. It has been for me. I can tell you that. So we're going to give away this book here. Let's do I'm going to scroll through and I'm going to randomly pick a winner, and let me close my eyes real quick. And winner, where is it? All right. Michelle Berry is the winner. Michelle Berry is the winner of the book this week, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Congratulations, Michelle. All I need you to do is to send me a message on Facebook through the Facebook Messenger, through Freight Broker Bootcamp. Send me a message with your full name, address, okay? Full name and address, and I will have a copy of this book shipped out to you for you to consume, and then you can apply these lessons to your business, whether you're a freight broker or freight agent. Thank you, everybody, for playing. Today's winner was Michelle Berry. Thank you so much. Again, appreciate you guys being here. Let's now dive into the Q&A. So I'm sure you guys have some questions. Let me grab a quick drink. You guys start filling up the chat box with some questions, and I will start answering, hopefully. Okay, so let me grab a drink. All right, cool. So we'll set the book over here and hit me up in the chat box with questions. Here we go. All right. So here's a question from Helen. I have my freight broker authority. Should I get a business account now, or is there a different way to be able to get my carriers paid when I get them so we don't have to wait 30 to 60 days? Okay. So Helen, if you have your freight broker authority, that means you probably have a corporation or an LLC. You're going to want to go to the bank and you're going to want to set up a business bank account. You're going to need your tax ID number, your EIN. You're going to need, copies of your certificate of incorporation to prove what the business name is and address. And you can set up a business banking account. You'll probably need to make a small deposit, but you're going to need that regardless because you're going to need some place to deposit your shipper, the money your shipper sends you, and you're going to need a place to withdraw money from to pay your carriers, whether that be through ACH or check or otherwise. Okay. So you are going to need to set up a business account. The second part of your question is there a way to be able to get my carriers paid when I get them so I don't have to wait 30 to 60 days? Well, the way to get your carriers paid quickly, the way for you as a broker to get you and your carriers paid quickly is to leverage freight broker factoring, okay? So factoring is like specialized financing where the factoring company will advance you up to 95% of the invoice that you would invoice the shipper. So for example, if it's $1,000 invoice to the shipper, they'll advance up to 95% depending on the factoring company. So upon you shipping that load and then sending the factoring company a copy of the invoice that they would need to the shipper, they'll advance you up to like $900, $950. So you can, number one, pay your carriers. And number two, you can handle your operating expense. Okay. And then they'll wait till the shipper pays you, and then they will keep their fee and they'll remit the difference to you depending upon how much that is. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. Again, the way to cash flow your freight broker business as a startup, most freight brokers use factoring. Now, if you have your own personal line of credit or your own cash or your own assets and you can set up a line of credit, it's always going to be way cheaper to use traditional financing. But if you don't have that, factoring is a very viable way to do it. Okay, so I hope that helps. All right, let's scroll through here. Let's see what we got. All right, so here's a question from Joshua. I had a personal bankruptcy last year, and I'm having trouble getting a factoring company to work with me. Any ideas on how to get around this? So the factoring company is not willing to work with you because you had a bankruptcy. Okay. It's the first time anybody's ever mentioned that to me. So I don't know, to be extremely honest with you. The first thing I would do is I would go talk to some other factoring companies. The second thing I would do is I would ask them the point blank question. Okay, so you don't like that my credit is an issue. What do I need to do in order to satisfy you? How can I satisfy you? I can't remove the bankruptcy. The bankruptcy is here, right? It's already in the past. There's nothing I can do about that, right? Can't change the past. But what can I do to satisfy you so that you'd be willing to work with me? Just ask them a very direct question. They may have a solution for you. In the event that they don't, my only other suggestion off the top of my head is you could possibly bring on a financial partner who has good credit, make them a part of the business and leverage their credit and reputation. But I'll be honest with you, that's an option, but I've never run into any students telling me that a factoring company would not do business with them because they didn't have good credit personally. Because freight broker factoring companies typically base their decision on the shipper's credit because that's actually who they're financing, right? They're lending money to the shipper because they're relying on the shipper to pay them. You don't have to pay the factoring company. You just have to pay the carrier, okay? And so that would be my suggestion. If they're afraid that you're going to take the money and not pay the carriers, then tell them that they could pay the carriers direct. That might be another option. So I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I'm just spitballing here some ideas that if I were in your situation that I might explore. So hope that helps, Joshua. Ernest Berry asks, can I have a broker authority and a carrier authority under the same business? Yes, you can. You can. But a lot of times from what I've heard from carriers that also get their broker authority is that they will set up a separate corporation for their brokerage, because having a broker and a carrier authority under the same corporation can increase their insurance costs, their cargo insurance costs, can increase some insurance costs. So sometimes they set it up as a separate entity. What I would do is I would go to your insurance company and ask them, right? I'm considering starting a brokerage. If I do, what would you recommend? How will that affect my insurance? Will it affect my insurance? And they're going to probably tell you, right? If they say it's not going to impact it, then you can just run it under the same business, right? But if not, then you're probably going to want to set up a separate corporation. Peter, please expand on the question. I don't understand what you mean. What is the optimal setup for brokering? That's a very difficult question because it doesn't really, I'm not sure what you mean. Please clarify, and I'll try to pull you back up and answer it. Samuel. Okay, so you won the t-shirt last week. Hey, listen, do me a favor. If you didn't get it yet, send me another email with your address, your name, address, and the shirt size, okay? I apologize. I think it went out, but just in case it didn't, send me another message through Facebook with your name, address, and size, okay? I think it did go out, but just in case, make sure you send me that message, okay? Samuel won the Freightpreneur t-shirt last week, just like a lot of other people. I've given it away. I'll probably give some more away here soon, but ultimately, Samuel, yeah, please remind me with another message. Sorry about that. Tasha, what are the legal requirements to combine both carrier and broker business? I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think there's any significant legal requirements. Okay. So you could consult an attorney, but I don't think there's any significant legal requirements. You would just, if you have a carrier business, it means you've got a corporation or an LLC. You could simply just file your carrier authority or your broker authority using that same information, and just operate them both under there if you choose. Julie D, can you be a broker / dispatcher? Yeah, we don't teach independent dispatching. We don't really promote that because there's some questions about legality of an independent dispatcher. But you could be a freight broker, or you can be a freight agent, or if you choose, you can be a dispatcher. But you typically aren't all of those things. You're typically one or the other. Okay? Derek asks, I sent my payment in the mail for my MC authority as well as my broker authority on April 27th. Is it normal for it to take this long to get approval? Yes. It's not uncommon for it to take 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. Okay. It can typically, I tell people it usually takes around 4 weeks to get approval, right? If you just did it April 27th, it's only been a couple of weeks, right? What's it been? Not even 3 weeks yet. Okay, so hold tight. I think assuming that everything is in line and the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, you should start seeing some sort of approval in the next, few weeks, next couple weeks to few weeks. All right, hold on. I'm scrolling here. Hold on a second. Okay, so here's a question from AJ. When cold calling, what do you say to people who say their customers send them trucks? Okay, so if you call a shipper, a manufacturer, and they say that their customers manage the freight and they have their own providers, then what you need to do is two things. Number one, that shipper probably has inbound freight for supplies and raw material that they buy. And in that case, they may control the freight on that. So I would always ask them, how do you handle your inbound, right? I know you're outbound going to customers. Your customers are controlling and routing that freight. But on your inbound, how is that being handled? Like, might be able to help you there as well. The second thing you would do, the only thing you can do is ask them, is there a specific customer that from time to time experiences some issues that we might be able to assist, and you can try to get their name. Now, a lot of times a shipper or manufacturer is not going to give you their customer's name. They may, but the probability is they probably won't. So at that case, there really isn't much you can do other than potentially trying to do some research and finding out who their customers are. Most companies keep their customers a pretty guarded secret because competitors are always going to try to pick their pocket. So at that point, there probably isn't too much you can do. Okay? Hope that helps. Move on, call another shipper. You will from time to time get customer routed freight. But again, for everyone that's customer routed, there's just as many that are not customer routed. Matter of fact, in my experience, most freight is not customer routed. Okay? So that's the difference of FOB origin or FOB delivery. A lot of buyers like to buy their product FOB delivery, right? So that means the manufacturer has to cover the freight all the way through to delivery to the buyer, and then the buyer takes possession of those goods. Okay, hope that helps. Good question, Corey. Does Freight Broker Bootcamp teach you the paperwork process for once I start landing shippers and carriers, or is it all about how the industry works? No, we talk about the process, right? So we talk about the process. It does give you a strong industry overview because that's very important for startups. But we do talk about the process of everything, including dispatching and rate confirmations and quoting and cold calling and all those things. We do cover a lot of that in Freight Broker Bootcamp. So yeah, it's very, very process oriented. And again, give it a try. We have a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee, no questions asked. It's ironclad. If for any reason you're not happy, we'll give your money back. Okay. But we have like a 97% customer satisfaction rate. So I'm really not worried about it. So give it a try. I can't make it much easier. Just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. So Rosie, congrats on starting your business. You've been making calls for 3 weeks. As of yet, you don't have any customers. Now, just because you've been making calls for 3 weeks doesn't mean that doesn't tell me, number one, how many calls you've made. It doesn't tell me your approach to those calls, right? It doesn't tell me the quality of the leads. It doesn't tell me the niche you're going after. And I don't have time to dive into all that anyway. But a lot of those are variables that you're going to want to understand and optimize. And that's part of the Freight Broker Bootcamp training. So here's what I can tell you. Cold calling absolutely works. It's not my favorite because it's a lot of work and there's a lot of competition. There are other strategies. Matter of fact, I'm going to be releasing my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program, which is a sales training specific to freight brokers and freight agents, going to be releasing soon. If anybody wants to be a part of that or get on the waiting list, it's not a free program. It's going to cost money. I'm reopening that. Okay. I launched it a couple months ago. If you want to get on the waiting list for that Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/FB sales. freightbrokerbootcamp.com/FB sales. I would strongly recommend that to you, Rosie. But in the meantime, what I would suggest is advice on cold calling. Here's the biggest problem with brokers and cold calling. They make it all about them. They don't make it about the shipper. They make it all about them. What is in it for me? You need to focus your presentation and your words on the shipper. What's important to them? Okay. Most brokers are calling up shippers and just begging for freight. Hi, I'm a broker. We move freight. How can we help you? Right. Or whatever. I mean, some pitiful pitch, right? Some pitiful cold pitch of which nobody will respond to, because ultimately it's all about the broker. It's not about the shipper. What I teach is figuring out what's important to the shippers and creating what I call a sales hook, right? Right? And creating a sales hook and a value statement that gets their attention. The hardest part about cold calling is getting their attention. You've got to get them to lean in. You have to figure out a way to be a little bit different than everybody that's out there. And that's what I teach in my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. So those would be a few tips, right? Of course, I can't unpack that training right now, but you need to figure out what's important to them, create a sales hook, create a compelling value statement, and leverage that to differentiate yourself from the competition. And all of a sudden, now people are going to start listening, because right now, your challenge is you sound just like everybody else. It's blah, 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 blah. And don't take this personally, but you sound just like everybody else. So you're not getting anybody's attention, and they're just telling you the same thing. We're not interested. Click. Or, we're not bringing on new brokers. Click. Or I don't have time. Click. Whatever the case may be. Okay. So if you're curious about how to truly effectively sell freight broker, freight agent services, get on the waiting list, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/FB sales. It's not a free training. It's not a cheap training, but it's worth 10 times what I charge for it. Okay. So I'll share more about that as we launch. I'm hoping to relaunch that and open that back up in June. Okay. So I'm hoping to relaunch that in June. I don't know exactly when. Right now, it's looking like the second half of the month. So hope that helps. All right, so I'm scrolling. Give me another minute. Yeah, good question. Shanqueen Wiley. I know a few owner operators. Would they have to obtain a broker authority if they already have an MC number as a carrier? Yes. If you are a carrier, whether you are an owner operator, you have a small fleet or a large fleet, having your carrier authority does not authorize you to broker loads. Now, you have the ability to haul loads as a carrier, but you do not have the right, and you would be illegal if you were brokering loads as a carrier unless you have your broker authority. The same goes for brokers. Brokers can't operate as carriers. They can operate as brokers. Carriers can't operate as brokers. They can only operate as carriers. So I'm not trying to confuse you, but just because you have your carrier authority doesn't mean you can broker loads. You have to get your broker authority to legally make money brokering loads. Okay. So, and the same way as if you're a broker, you can't carry loads on a truck because you don't have a carrier authority. It works both ways. The FMCSA is very clear about that. Okay. Carriers need a broker authority if they want to broker loads, whether you're an owner operator, a large fleet, or otherwise. Reginald, hey, when a shipper asks you send email, what information should you send them? Well, I would ask them what information they're looking for. But typically what they're going to be looking for is some basic credentials on you. Maybe they're going to be looking for maybe a one-page sales sheet that kind of talks a little bit about your company. They're probably going to want a copy of your broker authority, any insurance that you have. They might need or want some, might be smart to add some customer testimonials or case studies in there, things of that nature. It's an introductory package that helps them to qualify and vet whether you are credible and reputable. Okay. That's typically what goes out. Now, you can also include other things in that, like your as a shipper setup package, which you can include if you choose to have a shipper broker agreement. You can include your accessorials. You can include other things in there, but I would keep it kind of simple, right? I'd keep it pretty simple if they're just asking for basic information. If they're looking for something specific, all you have to do is say, when they say, hey, could you send over your information? Say, well, let me ask you a question. Are you looking for something specific? Zip your lip and listen. They're going to say, well, yeah, could you send us over your agreement, or could you send us over some rates? I'd be glad to send you over some rates. All I need is a few lanes. Just tell me a few lanes that you'd like me to give you some rates on. I'll be glad to do that, or whatever they ask for. Okay. But that should give you a little bit of a baseline of what typically goes out in an introductory package to a shipper after your initial cold call. Okay, so Tucson asks, um, Tucson is a Freight Broker Bootcamp member, paid member, student. He's also was a part of my original launch of the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, okay, which launched a couple months ago. He went through that accelerator program. He's asking, as a new brokerage, should we send out a formal letter describing our services and introducing our brokerage prior to contacting the shipper? Okay, so you're saying, should you mail a letter to a shipping prospect before you call them? Well, I think that it's an interesting way to differentiate yourself because most brokers won't do that. Okay. So you could use that as a way to differentiate yourself. Now, I will tell you, the only thing it's really going to do is it's going to create potentially to create a little bit of awareness that you are going to be calling them, and they're going to be more familiar with your name and less likely to just hang up on you or try to push you off the phone. It's not a miracle cure, right? But I think it's something that's worth testing. If I were a broker today, and again, I sold my brokerage several years ago. If I were a broker today, and there was a shipper that I really wanted to get in touch with, not only would I be calling them and emailing them and hitting them on social media, but I would also be mailing them. I would also send them, and I would probably, I don't know if I would send it through regular mail or if I would FedEx it or I would send it registered mail or whatever the case may be, but I would be using all of those channels as a way to differentiate yourself, as a way to break through the noise, as a way to start a dialogue with that shipper. Because remember, the lifetime value of a shipper, let's just think about this for a second. The lifetime value of a small shipper, let's look at it. If you moved one load a week, 52 weeks a year, and all you made was $200 on that load, that's over $10,000 a year in profit. That's one load a week. Over the year, $10,000 in profit. How much would you invest up front in time, energy, and resources to acquire that customer? Right? A lot, because the lifetime value of that customer just 1 year is $10,000. If you have that customer for 5 years, it could be $50,000 or more in profit in your pocket, right in the Hip National Bank. Okay? So I think I would start using those channels. I don't think it's a requirement, but it's definitely something I would use to differentiate myself. Okay, so Shadreen Pollard asks, how does a broker build credit and how is the credit calculated? Okay, so it's kind of like the chicken or the egg deal, right? The way brokers build credit is by paying carriers on time. You got to pay your bills on time. That's how it works. Just like when you're an 18-year-old that graduated high school, you typically didn't have any credit. So the way you build credit as a young adult is you get a loan, you get a car loan, you get a credit card, and you pay those bills on time. And that's how you build your credit. It's the same thing as a young, early startup broker. You get some carriers to run for you. You then pay them on time, get them to report on your credit, whether that be to the load boards like Truckstop or DAT or TransCredit or Experian or whatever credit reporting, DMB, whatever credit reporting agencies they report to. And that starts to build your credit. Okay. And that's really ultimately what it comes down to. You do have to build your credit, but your credit will build over time. As you start out as a small broker, you're moving a few loads here and there. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to obviously make sure you pay them very quickly. One of the best ways to do that is to quick pay a carrier when you move a load for them. So if you have the ability to quick pay them in a day or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days, they're going to be highly motivated for that cash flow to get that money quickly. And when that reflects on your credit report, it's going to have more weight than paying them in 30 or 35 days. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Give me a minute. I'm just scrolling here. All right. So Last question for today. Michelle Portwood asks, this is the last question for today, okay? Do you think it's worth it to invest money in leveraging your website to get shippers? Yes. I think that if you have the resources, you should set up your freight broker website before you start soliciting shippers. And here's why. Is it a absolute requirement? No. Do I know brokers who still don't have a website that actually have shippers and make money? Yes. But here's why I say this. Lean in and pay attention. Somebody calls you up on the phone. A business calls you up on the phone, and they offer to provide you a service of which you use, need, and even maybe want. What is the first thing you are going to do after hanging up that phone? You're going to go online, you're going to go to Google, and you're going to search for the person and their business. Now, here are the two things that are going to come up. Their website, if they have a website, and their LinkedIn profile, if they have a LinkedIn profile. Those are the two things that new brokers should have if they have the resources. Now, if you don't have the resources to set up a website, okay, then, I really don't think that's the case. All of my Freight Broker Bootcamp students shouldn't have that case because I offer templates that are a part of the program, and I offer a system that allows you to get the website set up for, $50, $100. So that shouldn't be an issue. Okay. I don't do the setup, but as a member, I walk you through that process of how to leverage those templates. But I think you should. And even if you don't set up your website, you absolutely have to have a LinkedIn profile that's optimized to make a good first impression. Because as a buyer, I use the internet to do my research on everything I buy. And so do you, and so does every shipper. If you think that they're going to call them and they're going to just trust you without doing any background check using Google, you're crazy. And the first thing that's going to come up, the top two things that are going to come up when they search for you and your business is your company website and your LinkedIn profile. So those are two things that I would do if I were a new broker, if you have the resources. If you don't have the resources, you need to become a part of freightbrokerbootcamp.com because we offer multiple Freight Broker WordPress templates. They're basically websites in a box, okay, that you can leverage to save a ton of money in creating your first website, right? You can get those set up for $50, $100. I walk you through the process if you are a paid member of Freight Broker Bootcamp. That process alone is worth more than I charge for the training, okay? That's just one of the extra benefits that you get for being a member of Freight Broker Bootcamp. So I would recommend it. I think it's a good question. Thanks for asking, Michelle. And that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. Listen, I appreciate you being here. I really do. I know that your time is valuable. I come back here every single week and I try to offer as much value as I can. Today, we talked about how to double your income if you're an owner operator without buying a new truck. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're an owner operator, hopefully that's got the wheels turning. Maybe you're the spouse of an owner operator, truck driver, and it's got the wheels turning. But if you're curious about becoming a freight broker, freight agent, make sure you check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. 60-day, 100% money back guarantee. We are well known to be the most cost-effective and comprehensive online freight broker training program. So, Trey, appreciate you guys being here. Have an awesome day. I will be back next Monday at noon Eastern. Enjoy.